Welcome to Successful Living with Bill Napick. Every week, we talk with interesting people in a variety of professions for ideas to enhance your success in all aspects of life. Successful Living with Bill Napick starts right now. Here's Bill Napick.
Thank you for joining us. I am Bill Napick. Welcome to the show, and you've tuned in to a special day, as today is a Media Systems special edition, and with Media Systems is Donnie Boutwell. Here's Donnie.
Welcome to Successful Living Show with Bill Napick. I'm your host today, Donnie Boutwell. Today, we're going to be talking about how to be successful online, how to market your business in a digital age, a digital world. And I've got an amazing guest today, Adam Gully, who is a marketing consultant. Adam, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here. So give us the elevator pitch. What is a marketing consultant? What is it that you're actually doing?
So what I do is I help companies strategize on their brand and also figure out their social media marketing plan. And so I come in, I usually like to talk first about what are your goals, what's your strategy, what are you trying to get to, and how can I help you get there? So that's pretty much it.
Yeah, so give us a little bit of the background. Like, where did you get started? Did you go to school somewhere for this? Did you study this? A lot of people, don't even use their degrees anymore. So did you actually study this?
I did not. So you hit the nail right on the head join the club, right? So right. I actually went to school for business. So I'm originally from Mobile, Alabama.
Okay.
Down on the coast there. So I grew up there, went to a small Baptist school, University of Mobile, graduated with a degree in business.
You probably don't know this about me, and Adam and I are friends from church, but you probably don't know this about me, but I was born in Mobile, Alabama.
No, you
I was. I'm not even kidding. My dad and his side of the family were all from there. I've got cousins that live in Mobile.
Wow.
And such a small world. And I never lived there because when my parents split up, he went back there. But then when I was in the music business, I would always say, people said, where are you from? I'd say, well, I'm from LA. I'm like, oh, cool. And I'd say, well, it's actually
Lower Alabama.
Alabama. That's where I'm from. So,
that's crazy. Yeah. What a small world.
So you went to high school in Mobile too, also, and then Mobile College.
Yeah, University of Mobile was Mobile College. Yep, and then switched to the University of Mobile, graduated from there with a degree in business. I had no idea what I wanted to do. I was like, you know what? Whatever I end up doing, a business degree is going to be helpful. So that's how I ended up there. And then after I graduated, my first job was at an outdoor advertising agency, a privately owned boutique outdoor advertising agency. So we did billboards. And that was my first foray directly into marketing. And since then, it's been...
Was that company also creating the content for all of the ad work?
Right. So they subbed out a lot of the graphic design, a lot of the copywriting and things like that. So I worked in the office kind of as the guy that would take concepts from the outside sales reps, and I would kind of be the liaison between them and the client to help develop the content, develop the graphics. I would get the concepts together, send it off to the graphic artist.
So you're already working as a consultant with the client to help them figure out what they're trying to present.
Right. And, and outdoors is its very own animal. And so helping customers, move from other types of traditional marketing mediums into outdoor it's a big change because it is not the same thing.
Right.
So that was my first bit of education into the marketing world was right there in that little small shop in Mobile, Alabama.
So were there other traditional marketing things? Like when I think of traditional marketing, I think magazines, newspapers, billboards, targeted mailers, mailing things to people. Because I used to work at a church, it's like thinking about an old movie. It was so many years ago, but we would do these targeted mailers and stuff. So that's what I'm thinking of. Is there something else? Radio ads, maybe? Commercials?
Yep. Radio, traditional TV spots, and all of that would be considered traditional. Basically anything that is offline, I would say, would be considered traditional.
Which was the whole world.
Right. At that point, everything.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, from that job, it's crazy because I ended up I got my first lesson in the real world. And when the owner of the company passed away, they actually decided to sell the company because that's how he was going to take care of his family and his wife in his absence. And so that was my first experience in layoffs. So I was like, all right, well, out of the university bubble and into the real world. So I ended up going back to my university to be an admissions counselor.
Okay.
And it was funny because that moved me into a more face-to-face direct marketing situation where I'm traveling across, the state of Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia, and I'm marketing the university face-to-face.
That's interesting for you to go back and forth between the roles of the one trying to market yourself versus the helping somebody else market themselves.
Correct. So I was there for a couple of years, and then when I met my wife there at the university, we knew each other in school there, and then she ended up coming back several years later to finish her degree, and that's when I was working there, and that's when we got reconnected, and the rest is history. We got married and then moved here to Houston to settle down, and just before we could get comfortable enough here in Houston, I got a call from back from Mobile and said, hey, so-and-so is starting up a faith-based film company. They've got, it's a small budget, but they've got, probably a few million for the budget that they've already got set. They've got directors, they've got producers, they've got Emmy-winning producers coming on board. They've got a Disney director that's a relative of this guy that founded the company. And so all the pieces are in place, but we need somebody to come in and help us market the film and also to help hire extras for the film. We need about 300 extras, and shooting starts in about a month.
Oh, wow.
So they were like, you did recruiting, right? You can find 300 extras in that time. And I was just like, and it, call it maybe too naive to know that, or too young to see that maybe certain things were impossible, And so I just thought, of course I can. And so my wife and I moved back to Mobile for a contract, and we found 300 extras, and by the time we got there, it was probably a few weeks, and nobody thought we could do it. And we found over 300 extras that would work for free, that would work 12-hour days, and that would just be on call. They may be sitting around for hours. And so we found 300 people for this movie that were willing to do that and do it all for free.
That's amazing.
And so, and then once in post-production, they kept us on to help market and promote the film. So that kind of got me more into that space of traveling across the country to market and not just locally. So that got me all the way, so that took me to San Antonio, took us all the way out to San Diego. And I would do keynote speeches. We were sponsoring huge, vendor events and things like that. So really getting our name out there. And then that also got me into the social media marketing space. So creating this grassroots movement from the bottom up.
Well, that's a real important question, because I feel like, our company has been around since 1980, and there was this for sure transition in how do we represent ourselves to the world and what mediums are we using to do that, trying to learn about social media, what works, what doesn't work, and that's a big thing that I want to learn from you today is how, as a, on the Successful Living Show here, people are listening to our guests wondering, okay, how did they get there? How did they do that? And what can I learn from their experience in their life to help my own business and to get myself to the next level? And so what was that transition like as you saw I assume you're old enough to have been in this before social media was the marketing
I was in that generation where AOL came into play and all of this online stuff just came into play. Really, Facebook came about when I was in college.
I'm 49 years old.
Man, you look good for 49.
Thank you. They say I've got a really great face for radio.
You do. Yeah, well, I'm in the same boat. I'm like, if you want somebody on camera, maybe you should have my wife here. She looks great.
Yeah, thank you. But I'm on that edge in a way where I'm in a technology business, and that helps, but the technology that I do all day every day is not social media. That's a different animal. So just to say that I'm tech savvy, does not mean that I understand how to do marketing and social media, because that's something different, and the world of technology is just so big.
Yeah,
it's hard to know, to just assume that, oh yeah, I understand websites.
Well, yeah,
because I don't.
And just like me, it's like, I may understand social media, and that may make me techie in some ways, but like, you have all kinds of things in the studio. I have no idea what they do. So same boat. But yeah, it's definitely So
what are the let's say we've got a business owner that's listening to this show, and they're thinking about they're feeling like me, like, okay, I know I've done this traditional stuff in the past, and I need to start getting more aggressive on the social media side and the internet side of this. Where does somebody start with this? What's the first thing they should be focusing on? Is it a website? Is that the place to start?
Those are good questions, and I would say, before you even get into those mediums, I want to help people really understand what they're after, and understand who their audience is, and understand the way that marketing is nowadays. It's no longer, just plaster as much stuff, just throw enough mud on the wall and something's going to stick. If we're talking brand awareness campaigns, now that may be something different. But I want to start on the strategy and the branding side, and helping understand, what is it that you guys offer that nobody else does, and also helping educate the owner of the company or whoever's in charge of marketing that, look, you got to understand one thing, and this applies to so many different things, but storytelling. Whether it's in, movies or books, it's the same in marketing. You're always going to have a hero, and the problem always starts. You can look at any movie, any book, just about, and it usually starts with, there's a hero, he has a problem, he has to solve, and in order to solve that problem, he needs to meet a guide, and that guide is going to equip them with knowledge. He's going to help them avoid failure, and he's going to call them to action. And that's going to help the hero reach the end, the successful end that he's looking for. But he can't get there without that guide. And helping understand the company, the owner of the company or the head of marketing or whoever I'm consulting with, that, like, you think that your company is the hero. Because, that's your baby.
Everybody does.
It's your baby, right?
We're the best at what we do.
Right. We are the hero of our story. But no, like, your customer is the hero. And they have something that they are trying to achieve. And so they have a problem that they are trying to solve. And where you come in, you are the guide. You have the expertise. You come in with empathy. So not pity. You come in with empathy, and you come in with authority. You were there to help understand what their problem is, and you have the authority to show that, look, I've helped people solve this problem many, many, many times. I have a track record of helping people solve this very problem that you are trying to solve. And here are the 3 to 5 things that you can expect from us if you do business with us. So, here's the end that you're wanting to get to, and here's the plan that we are going to put together to help you reach that successful end. And so when you transition from yourself as the hero, me, we're great, our company, yada, yada, yada. When you understand that your customer is the real hero and you're stepping in to help guide them from point A to point B, it changes the way you look at your marketing. And so you have to have that understanding first before you even begin thinking about getting a website or redesigning a website or the way that you approach social media and which mediums you're going to use. And then once you have those, how you're going to set them up and how you're going to cadence that. And so
you're talking about brand identity in a way. Who are you as a company, and what are you doing? And if you don't have that content, and if you don't have that understanding of your identity as a company, as an organization, or as people in general, then what are you going to market anyway?
Right.
You don't have anything. You don't have any content to put out there. So forget the medium.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's magazines, newspapers, or TikTok.
Right.
You don't know if you don't know who you are and have an identity established, then what are you presenting anyway? So you start there.
You're a clanging cymbal. to pull in a biblical reference.
It's just noise.
Your noise.
Yeah,
and there's
noise.
so much noise that's already out there in the digital space, and even still in traditional marketing. There's just so much noise. We're being bombarded from every side with information. And the only way to cut through that is for a customer to really know that, number one, you care about solving their problem, and you have the authority to do that, to solve that problem. And then you have the plan, and it's very simplistic. Step 1, step 2, step 3. This is how we get you to your end result. This is how we get you, the customer, to your victory, whatever that is.
And then maybe the medium that you're choosing is subject to that story first. Like where do we get it out? Because then there's also, for us as a business, we're thinking about who's our target.
Right.
How do we get into that community and get our message out? You've created your message, you've created your brand identity and your content.
Right.
I'm assuming there's, of course, logo design. What is the look? What is the feel?
Right.
How do you present? And then from there, then it's who is the client that we're trying to get the attention of, and then
what's the problem they're trying to solve? Yeah,
and then maybe based on that demographic, that could lead you a certain direction. Like, for example, our client base is not young 20s and teenagers.
Right.
So
you're probably not going to be on Snapchat.
I don't even know what that is.
To be honest, I don't either. There's certain social media things that
the only reason I've heard of it is because we teach parental controls, and my wife has had to get on there to understand it, to be able to teach parents what is this. But for us, I think our client base is more likely to be on Facebook.
Correct.
Or driving down I-10 and seeing a billboard. But I also don't want everybody driving down I-10 calling us on the phone, because we're a niche market, and we don't want their attention. It would be overwhelming, and it wouldn't
There's no
help.
qualification happening there.
Yeah. So let's say let's say we're getting into social media, and we've identified, for example, one of these groups. What would you say are some of the differences? What are some of the platforms that are important, and how are some of those different?
Yeah. So I would say Facebook for most people is going to be a winning spot to be. All of the surveys done and testing done has shown that I think it's like 74% of people on social media are on Facebook, and then 84% of people follow brands on Facebook. So wow. Facebook and Instagram are among the highest usage platforms, and it's two of the best places where people actually follow brands and stay loyal to those brands. From there, it just kind of goes further down. So
what is for a business owner trying to market a business? I mean, I know we could come up with a definition of the difference between Facebook and Instagram, but for a business owner trying to get traction for their business, are there some significant differences between Facebook and Instagram? Yeah,
so Instagram is obviously going to be more image heavy. Now, everybody, Instagram and Facebook, just everybody knows, they're owned by the same, it's one and the same. When you do ads, when we do ads and stuff for Facebook and Instagram, we can manage them through one platform, one management platform, because it's all the same thing. But it's very different. Obviously, Instagram is going to be very image heavy. Facebook is going to be image, but more room for content, more room for copy, and obviously live videos and videos. Everybody is trying to move more towards videos. It's just that's the reality of where we are.
I think I heard this. Is it true that excuse me, that if you're presenting video content online, that their algorithms are just going to push that more anyway?
Absolutely, yeah. Video is obviously going to be highlighted, but you have to be careful about the way you push video on social. So Facebook and subsequently Instagram, they are competing in that video space, but YouTube is its own entity, and obviously it is the champion of video. And so if you try to put something on YouTube and then upload it there and then share it on other platforms, Facebook is probably not going to be very keen on helping you promote that YouTube video on their platform. And so, being able to natively produce videos and upload them to those platforms is going to be the better way to share it.
Am I a dinosaur for having a website?
Not at all. So, while social media is fantastic for a lot of things, brand awareness, even lead generation, it can do so many things. Consumers are now buying more than ever directly on social media, so that's still happening. But at the same time, that's still emerging, and so I think customers absolutely still need to have a website where they're driving traffic, because here's the thing: social media works in conjunction with Google, in conjunction with your search engine optimization, in conjunction with Google paid ads, and then social media ads. That's a whole other side of things. All of that is an ecosystem that works together to drive people to your website. So it's a funnel.
So
right?
the website is hopefully the landing point.
Right. Hopefully the bottom of the funnel, even though, like I said, social media is now moving more towards a space where the social media medium is becoming more bottom of the funnel, where people are making those buying decisions there. But ultimately, still, people need to come to your website, because you're not going to give them everything that they need to know about you on social media. That would just be way too much.
Let's say I have a company. I built a website, 10 years ago or even 5 years ago. What's different? What's trending differently on websites today versus 5 years ago? What makes my website look dated? What would make my website look like we are on the cutting edge here?
Yeah. One of the things that I look at first is, when I pull up the website, if I am being bombarded by verbiage, if it looks like somebody has thrown up the alphabet all over your website, where as soon as I pull it up, you're trying to tell me immediately, if you're going into and I just caveat, I have not looked at your website, so this is if I'm saying anything that's touching a nerve, it's not because I know what your website looks like. But if I pull up the website and I'm immediately bombarded by, here's the history of my company, and this is why we're so great, and it's just nonstop, benefits, features, and you start overloading. Most people, their brain kind of shuts down. It's like a survival instinct that's kind of in the brain, where it's like, I'm here for a need, and if I'm just overloaded by everything else that's not what I need, that I can't see how to get to what my need is, then I'm going to move on to something else. It's like, it's too much information. It's information overload. And so the way that I have redesigned websites in the past is, I want them to immediately know who we are, what we do, within the first 10 seconds. Like, somebody should know exactly what you do in a very simplistic way. And then they need to have calls to action in the right place. Things need to be laid out very simply, and it needs to guide them. The whole website you can have calls to action along the way, but everything should be like a funnel, and you should allow your consumer to move to more information if they choose to. But from the moment they hit your site, they need to answer just those first couple of questions very quickly, and if that is what they need, they will stay, and they can move freely to other parts of your site that can help them. And it all is like a funnel. It's all going to funnel them to the point where they are ready to buy.
I have the worst possible question to ask you. This is horrible, and you're going to hate it.
Can't wait.
Okay, but this is the question that everybody wants to know right away. They're like, how much does it cost?
Yeah.
And so I get that question in my business a lot. Very early, we'll meet with a client, and within 15, 20 minutes, they're like, well, what does that cost? And I don't even know the full extent or scope of work of what they actually want yet. And so and I know that's the same as somebody saying, how much does it cost to buy a car?
Yeah.
Or how much does it cost to buy a steak?
And your response is, well, it depends.
It depends on where you go and how many ounces is your steak.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So, but what do you think is a good? Maybe we should be talking in the scale of your entire business. Mm-hmm. What do you think is? And it's probably different by industry, but what do you think people ought to be putting as a slice of the pie towards websites and marketing and all of that sort of thing? Is that a crazy question?
It's a great question. I think as far as marketing budget, as a percentage of your revenue or your revenue target, I would say most people are anywhere from 5 to 25%. I know that's a big swath.
But it depends on what you do. And I've seen this too with some of our competition. The ones that this is, everybody thinks that they're the best at what they do, right? But I have a particular competitor who I think spends 50% of his budget on marketing and advertising because he doesn't have any repeat business, because he's not that good. But his marketing's amazing. And so, and that's some people do that. So not to say that you shouldn't put a big chunk of your money towards marketing, but if you're just starting out and you don't, like for our company, for example, we've been here for more than 40 years. And so we maybe don't need to put as large of a slice of the pie toward marketing as somebody who's just starting out, which is tough to say for somebody who's got limited resources as they're starting out. But as you're starting your business, maybe it makes more sense to be putting a larger slice of the pie towards marketing. Tell me about this. You mentioned a phrase a second ago where most of us that are not industry people just got glassy-eyed and it just went right over the top of our heads. But in getting ready for this conversation, I've looked this phrase up, and you said search engine optimization. Right. And some people would just say, oh yeah, you got to spend money on SEO. And then people like me are like, what in the world are you talking about SEO? What in the world is SEO? Search engine optimization. Why do I need that, and how much does that cost?
So search engine optimization is essentially you're optimizing your website, whether it's on-page stuff or behind the scenes in the background. You're optimizing your website so that people know how to find you when they search on Google. So if you ever gone to Google and you start typing in something in the search bar, and all of a sudden all these phrases and words will drop down, well, that is actually a good way it's a good way to find keywords that people are searching for. It's basically giving you the trends. If you start typing a phrase like something, say you want to find a spaghetti recipe or something, you're like, what is the best spaghetti? And then it'll probably give you best spaghetti sauce, best spaghetti noodles, best spaghetti prep methods. It's going to give you all these suggestions. That is Google saying this is what actually people are searching for. And so search engine optimization is going to optimize your website to be organically found. So when you go,
are you saying that this is something that is sort of coded into the site?
Yes, coded into the site, but also on the front page in the wording. So it involves finding what keywords your particular audience is looking for when they are searching for services that you offer. So keyword research is huge. That's something that marketing companies like myself will do, is to find if people are looking for your particular service, what keywords are they looking for? When they search for a certain thing, it's going to list your business higher in the search results. Is this
something you're paying your web designer person to embed into it, or is this something you're paying services out there for? Is that different? Are you paying for services to find it somehow, or is this something that you're just encoding into your site?
Yeah, this is something that there's people that offer SEO services, and they can come in, even once the site is built, it doesn't matter. They can come in the background, change title tags, do stuff in the background even after the site is built. Now, a website designer can, they may offer those same services, whereas they're building and they're helping you put content and things on there. They can go ahead and be doing that in the background while they're building it. But you can come in at any time and optimize your website on the back end and make sure you have the best keywords that are going to help the right customer find you on Google organically. And so that's all it is, helping you rank higher in organic search results on Google.
Okay. And so that's something that we should be thinking about. That may
Absolutely.
be somebody else on your team, you're saying, because I would imagine that there are people that maybe just do that.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a specialty. And yeah, that is somebody on my team helps a lot with that. They know a whole lot more about that world than I do.
Yeah.
And so that's something that we can
in the
help
same
with.
vein, if you're doing your marketing with Facebook or Instagram, something like that, like we talked about, is it worth it for me to be paying to boost my posts, and is there a right way to boost my post? Like, I've seen that before. Here, click here to give us more money. And I'm like, why do I need to give you more money? But I don't know what that's going to do for me. Is it going to find the people that I want to find me if I give them more money?
Yeah. One of the benefits is, it is a pay to play platform as far as ads go. And it is, typically the more money you spend, the bigger the audience you're going to reach. So that's good. But before you even get there, you don't want to just create a post and then just boost it. It needs to be something that is already showing that it's organically trending well. Like, people are actually engaging with it already. So it's not as simple as just throwing money at something. Kind of like I said from the beginning, where we talked about branding and strategy. Before you even get into the medium, it needs to be, everything needs to be well thought out and planned. And just like on the social post, it needs to be already something that is engaging, that customers are looking for, they're interacting with already. It's already getting organic traffic. And then that is something that you want to boost, because it's going to get even more interaction. If it's not engaging the audience at all, you're just going to be throwing money down the drain, because it'll just be another ad, and people will be like, well, I'm not engaged, so I'm not. That's
the $1 million question. How do I get engagement? And by that I mean they stop scrolling so fast.
Rather than nuts and bolts, I'd like to take it to more of a 30,000 foot view and just say, are you adding value? Are you there just trying to sell something? And there's a guy named Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V by short. People know him as Gary V or Gary Vaynerchuk. He's big on social media, and there's a book, and I may misquote this, and I think that he wrote it, but it's been so long. But it's called essentially Jab, 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 Hook is actually the title of the book. And it's about adding value, not asking. Buy from me, buy from me, buy from me. Here's this product, here's this product, here's this product. It's more of, how are you adding value? If you're not adding value, like, people are just, it's more noise, right? It's, more people trying to sell me.
As you say that, as you're telling me the story, I'm thinking of two people that I follow all the time on social media, John Acuff.
Oh, yeah.
And Simon Sinek.
Oh, yeah.
And those two guys, when they post something, they're not saying buy my book.
No.
They're saying, let me give you a quick tip about parenting. John Acuff had one. And it started with, it was a narrative. It was, let me tell you a story. Today I did this with my daughter, and this happened, and she said that, and I said this, and I did this. And guys, as dads, we need to be dads. And, I'm engaged. I'm like, well, yeah, I need to be a better dad. So I stopped scrolling so fast. And the end result of that is I'm going to, drill down the funnel and buy the book, And then Simon Sinek, same deal. Start with the why. Did you think about this? How's your, company, corporate culture, whatever he's talking about? Yeah. It's always so. He never said, neither one of those guys ever put the link up that says, hey, I've got a new book, buy the book. They start with that, here is a story or something that you're interested in, that you care about, that's going to grab you. It's education, maybe.
Right.
Maybe they're teaching. Maybe that's part of the hook with your business. Let's say you're a plumber. You'd say, you know what? Here's how you make your toilet stop running. And when I start reading that, I think, I don't want to do that. I better call these people. But they're engaging me by saying, hey, this is a felt need. Right. It's something that you care about.
Yeah, some people are just, they're afraid of adding value because they feel like they're giving away things that people should be paying for. But in today's world, that's just fortunately, it's not true. Like, people need to be adding value. People want to feel that you care about them more than just making a sale, that you really do want to help them. You want to add value. You want to make their life better. And so if you're not leading with that, again, you're a clanging cymbal. You're just you're an infomercial.
I'm a bit of a perfectionist, which John Acuff would slap me for, right? Okay. And so I struggle with putting content out there if it's not good quality. Eons ago, I studied radio and television production at University of Houston, and then I worked in the recording business and did audio production and mixing and mastering, all that kind of thing, recording. And so I struggle with that, where it's like, okay, it's a phone video. I don't want to show somebody my dumb phone video. That looks terrible. I'm not going to put that out there. So, but I know there's a line there between how good is good enough, and I've got to get some content out there, right? So how good is good enough? I mean, do you find that with your clients that sometimes you might counsel them to say, you know what, it's good enough, it's better than nothing out there, or are there times when you have to say, ooh, don't put that out there? Yeah,
so it goes both ways, right? That you can be too much of a perfectionist, and then you can be like, okay, that's a little too casual. Let's, there is a happy medium there, I think. And I think one of the most important things is that people want to see authenticity and genuineness. And so, but there's different mediums and formats that make one a little better than the other. Like here, obviously, we're doing a radio show podcast, so the format is right. It's professional. It's all of this, but then there's other mediums where people want to just break through the production and get right to the raw you. And what's great about like live videos and things like that is that it puts the person's face, like if you're holding your phone to do a live video, you're usually about right here. And if the camera is this close, it kind of simulates a person that is standing in that kind of that intimate circle, like they're standing in front of you. So it feels a lot more intimate, and it helps people to drop their guard a little bit more, because here you are, you're face to face almost, and it's like the person is standing right there, and on the other side of it, the screen, it looks like you're standing there, so it feels more intimate. They're going to be probably more apt to engage, but again, it really comes down to, people do live videos all the time that nobody watches, because it all comes down to, what are you saying? What are you communicating? What are you offering? What are are you adding value, or are you trying to just say, gimme?
Jacqueline, my wife, has said this before a few times, that, say what you will about Kim Kardashian, but she made people feel like they were her friend. And that's part of that, is that, here we are, we're having a conversation. I'm just talking to you, and I'm opening up to you. I'm sharing with you. Yeah. I'm being authentic. I'm being vulnerable with you. That makes you want to listen to what I have to say.
It makes you a real person. And I think just in today's age, there's been so much of a different style of marketing that people are starting to get more, what would you say, I want to say annoyed, but it's if things are over marketed, if it's like just too overproduced, and like, it doesn't feel genuine. Yeah. And people they don't feel that connection. And to be honest, like, people feel more of a connection to people than they do just a company. And that's why companies want to make their brand feel like it's connecting to a person.
We struggled with this, I want to say 5, 6, 7 years ago, in trying to market our company, Media Systems. It's like Jacqueline could put up a picture of the girls, and she'd get, hundreds of likes. Oh, that's so cute. I love that. Yeah. But if we put up one picture of somebody hanging a TV, it's just like swipe. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Yeah. And so we kind of just went with it. And that's okay. And so it was not like a manipulative transition for us. It was just, we sort of gave up a little bit on trying to get our company's name out there, and we just started going with what people were responding to, which was more personal stuff. Yeah. And our thought was, it's not disingenuous to think that if you just work on expanding your circle of influence, then everything is affected by that. So, to have an opportunity to go to the school and teach about parental controls and marketing, parental controls and monitoring your kids' online activity, that's something that's kind of a soapbox for us, but it doesn't make us a penny. It doesn't, but we feel like we can contribute and we can make a difference and we can make friends that way and get to know more people that way. Right. And then just by being around more people, conversation comes up and they say, you know what, I don't want to DIY my Wi-Fi system. Do you know anybody that could do professional Wi-Fi system? Well, that's actually what we do. So if you need us, we're happy to come in and help you do a professional Wi-Fi system. Yeah. But that's part of the question here too, is that when does somebody decide if they're going to DIY their marketing and social media, and when do they decide to hire somebody to help them with this whole deal? How do you know when to make that transition and say, you know what, I can't do this by myself. I don't have time. Yep. I don't understand it. I don't know what these things work. And then maybe there's some combination of doing some things yourself and hiring somebody to do something. When does somebody decide that they need help, and how do they make that break over?
Yeah, I think so there's a few questions that, I like to throw out there, and it's and here's a few of them that kind of help you answer that question. So, do you currently have a social media team? If not, who will be a part of this team and who's going to have the responsibilities? Do you have enough people to manage all the channels that you want to be on and to keep a regular cadence? How much time can you really dedicate to each channel? How much time can you really take from you doing the normal day-to-day business stuff that you may be doing? If you're a sole proprietor, or if you're just somebody that really is the face and you wear all the hats at your company, do you have the time to add one more thing?
Totally my problem right there is that I have great intentions, and if I stop doing my job, then everything falls apart.
Everything else falls apart.
Yeah.
Right. And so, that's a great thing to answer. And obviously there's learning curves, right, to social media marketing. There's, you have to be able to learn everything, to ramp up, to include that in the time factor as well. And then who is creating your social content, and then who is going to manage those people. If you're going to have somebody else do it, like somebody else in your company, who's going to manage them? That's more of your time or more of somebody's time that has to go and do that, and they may be doing other things as well. That's going to really help. And then, do you have the budget? Are you in an industry even that really requires a lot of marketing, or even a little marketing to make the sale? Now, obviously, there's a case to be made for brand awareness. Everybody can benefit from that. But some are driven by salespeople that go out and prospect, and maybe they don't need as much marketing. But maybe other companies, they have no salespeople. They just have an internal sales team, and everything is inbound. You are relying on inbound marketing to drive people in, to call in, to submit a web form, to come to you, and which I love that style of marketing much more, because you're marketing so well that people are coming to you. They are willingly sending you their information for you to call them. They're willingly, dialing the phone.
I cannot stand that kind of like cold call, because it's just because I don't like to get it, and sometimes I feel sorry when somebody calls me on the phone and they have this like cold call pitch, and they're like, hey, hey, is Steve there? If they call the office and say, hey, Steve there, I know they don't know us at all, because Uncle Steve has been retired for 7 years.
And if you don't know that, then you don't know us.
You don't know me. I had a meeting scheduled with him. Okay, well, no, you didn't. Funny, and you started with something that's not true. So why do I want to do business with you? And it's a tough business. But on the flip side of that, I'll have, let's say somebody reaches out to me, I'll meet with them, I'll even put a proposal together for them, and we'll visit, we'll talk about it, I'll send it out to them, and then I don't follow up because I'm intimidated, and I don't want them to feel like I'm pressuring them or pushing them, into doing anything, because that's just not my personality. And so thank the Lord, our company's been here this long, and most of the people that call us are the people that have been calling us for decades, and they're asking me, and they follow up with me. Then I don't have to deal with that intimidation of feeling like I'm pressuring somebody into doing something, because I don't want to pressure anybody into doing anything. It's just such a rough feeling, But I like this idea of you've been using a word that I thought was really good. You talk about this regular cadence. That's just part of your vernacular in marketing and social media, this regular cadence of content that's coming out. And we have a friend who's got a manufacturing company. They make a home automation assistant, a voice assistant called Josh AI. It's really cool, super cool. And he said when they and it's totally private and secure, by the way. They're not data mining you or anything like that. But he told us, he said they have a social media strategy years ago. He told, I don't know if they're still doing it the same way, but he said that they'll do a picture of a product, they'll do a picture of somebody at the company doing something fun. This is not business, just somebody out doing something fun. They'll do a picture of some beautiful architecture, and then they'll do a picture of a dog. And that's their strategy. It's just a boom, 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 boom. And then they would rotate through their company. Of course, everybody in their company is like 20 years old, so that helps.
Content creation is not a problem when you have a bunch of young people there.
Yeah, but what is that regular cadence supposed to look like? How am I supposed to be posting something every day? Is there a better time of day that I'm supposed to be posting something?
Yeah, there's definitely optimal times where you can post, and there's been tons of studies doing on when the best time to post is. It's something really simple you can Google, and even depending on the CRM or marketing platform that you're using, like I have a lot of experience in HubSpot. That was one that we used. It was like a CRM, and then it had a marketing platform where we could automate everything, social, email automation, all of that. And so a lot of those tools will also have their own system, because they're used to sending out posts, they're used to sending out emails. They can tell you exactly when the most optimal time to post is. But there's also just a general studies done on when people are engaging the most. So that's something super easy to Google online. You can see when the best time to post is, depending on the platform too.
Okay.
And I guess your other question was about cadence.
Yeah, what does that cadence look like? Is because I don't want to be irritating and post 4 times a day, because then people are like, unfollow.
Yeah, I mean, really, the only medium for that where you're posting like throughout the day is going to be Twitter, which that's a whole nother animal. I would say for Facebook and Instagram, I would say at minimum you need to be posting 3 to 4 times a week. If you could post every day, that's even better. And again, that's where you have to ask yourself the question: Am I gonna set aside the time to create the content, to do, if you're on Instagram, to research the right hashtags to use that are trending, that are going to get me to the audience that is interested in anything that I'm doing.
That's something you can also do with Facebook and Instagram, is the whole hashtag thing.
Right. Yeah. So being able to research that and being able to put the time into, the pictures and the video, and are you going to stop and do a live, and, are you going to write copy? Are you going to do all that every day? Because I would say, like I said, 3 to 4 times minimum. But if you could do it every day, that's optimal. At least once a day is just brilliant, I think, if you can pull that off.
But 4 times a day, maybe not.
Yeah. That,
I mean, that's for people that are trying to make their living from the online stuff,
right?
I guess.
Yeah, if you are, and depending on the medium, if you are really just trying to make your money by having that presence online, whether you're selling ads or something like that, like, where people are attracted to your site, like on YouTube, if you're, but even then, like,
do you know if there's a better way to get a YouTube video to be visible on Facebook or Instagram, or do you just say don't do it? Should you be posting your video to Facebook instead, or what are your thoughts about that?
I would say,
because we talked about that Facebook really doesn't want to promote Google. That's not their company.
They don't want to promote anything from YouTube because they're competing in the video space, and so they're probably going to suppress that. So if you've ever tried to upload a YouTube video and create have a YouTube link in your Facebook post, it's probably not going to get a lot of traction. I would say to go offline and push it to your circle through email, or push it through your customer base through an email. Get it away from Facebook and Instagram and push it out through email. Get people to start following you that way. Hey, did you know we have a YouTube channel where we offer tips and insights into the media systems space, and we add value by doing this and this. If that's something that interests you, go over to YouTube, follow this link, and give us a follow. Turn on your notifications so you'll know when we upload a new video all the time. I would just come off of social and just really get into your audience with email, and don't spam. Small touch on email. Don't purchase email list. Horrible. That's like same as cold calling. It's like people are like, I don't know you. What are you doing in my email inbox? It's the worst. I mean, we all have an email inbox that is full of just, I don't even know how I got this. I don't even know how you got my email address.
Right. I tried to hide my email address on LinkedIn. It's like, y'all don't actually know me, so I don't. No.
So that's my advice. There would just be, get away from Facebook and Instagram. They're competing with YouTube. If you want to push your YouTube channel, get that out through email or just through people that text, but please know them before you send them anything.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show today. There's so many people that listen to the Successful Living Show because it's a great opportunity to learn about other businesses, and you've given us some great information for all of us, to help all of us with what we're doing in all of our businesses. And I really appreciate you being here. It's Adam Gully. If somebody's looking to hire a media or marketing consultant, can you tell us how somebody could get a hold of you?
Yep. So they can email me at blueskysmma@gmail.com. I'm actually currently designing my website and getting that wireframed up. So that's in the works. But for right now, they can email me because, again, nothing really needs to start until I fully understand what you're looking for and how I can help. If it turns out I can help, I'll gladly do it. If it turns out, I don't think I can help you, I'll gladly point you in the right direction.
But helping create that story, that's such a great lesson. Such a great takeaway for me is that whatever your medium is that you're trying to get your message out, you have to know what your message is before you get out there. It's such a great lesson. Thank you so much for being here and sharing that with us today.
Yeah, thank you.